Sometimes you need to randomly learn about hippocampal sharp wave ripples while the kid you nanny watches Pokemon. I have been going a little bit insane recently. This has been the most isolating period of my whole entire life, and it's just me working on this, and it's been so mentally intense. And I feel like, do you know how, like, what's it called, like helicopter moms? So like they'll like put their kids through the worst conditions to make sure that their kids like succeed and like do well and get good grades, you know, and they'll be like really rude to them and like all this stuff. I feel like the universe has been doing that to me because like I literally, the madness that I go through on the daily of being like, you need to do this, if not you will never leave the suffering that you're leaving. And it's just been like really maddening a little bit, but at the same time it's like this is the only thing that brings me peace in the midst of like the madness. So now I'm just starting to consolidate everything that I've been learning. I literally want to throw up. I'm like, I hate it. I'm tired. But if I don't finish this, I'm gonna go even more insane. So yeah. It's like, have you guys ever seen those movies about like, you know, like Russian like ballerinas or like figure skaters or something, and the coaches will be like just like horrible being rude to them, like, you know, telling like you have to like basically you have to like work for like 13 hours straight and all this stuff, and then they're like of course like the best ones, but it's like at what cost? I feel like literally in my life, like what, just like it's like no, it's like I feel like it's like a social experiment run by the universe, low key. It's like just like most isolating conditions ever, little money, like absolute horrible desperation, like just intense desperation to just have money, desperation to be like in my field that I want to be in, and just desperation to just leave the situation and be like happy. And just like, yeah, it just has been like really, really like, it feels like the universe is literally like pushing me the way that like a Russian like ballerina or something gets like pushed to the brink, but then of course you're gonna like produce like something insane because you're in like such an intense mindset about like you have to win, you know? Let me show you guys. So I'm just writing down all of the things that I need to have in my neural network, and I just want to make sure that I fully understand like everything that I need to incorporate, you know? And I have enough text for each thing. I feel like I have quite a bit of text about the hippocampal sharp wave ripples, but I don't know, I can't tell if I'm just getting in my head or what, but I'm just looking at it and just be like, do I know enough? Have I learned enough? The part that I'm most nervous about, just because I don't fully understand, I think, the mechanics actually of the neural network, because I haven't actually built one before, is like I'm worried. I'm worried basically that my narrative like section is like gonna like my, because it has to have a self narrative, like tell me basically if it remembers what happened to it, or like if it knows 100% of what happened to it. But I'm a bit nervous. Actually, it's interesting because I recently read about like closed loop simulation, which is a type of treatment people are now using for PTSD, where it basically like targets like the actual like event, I guess in this case the sharp wave ripples, and like delivers like the intervention straight to that, and it's been very effective for PTSD. And I read one that was really aligned with what I was saying or my hypothesis. But yeah, I think I just keep getting in my head like, do I know enough? Here you go, guys. I got you a piece of pizza for the historians one day. Here, take a bite. Another reason I've been going kind of like the insanity is so real because it genuinely feels like I was saying, like it feels like the universe like is like building this intense internal pressure for me. And I know it sounds crazy, but the lack of normalcy feels like cosmic almost. Like like I've never been in a relationship, okay? Every time I've tried to get into a relationship, it doesn't matter, like it hasn't worked out. It hasn't, like it's failed, right? And I've tried to like back when I lived in the US, like I had a considerable amount of friends. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I had like close friends. People knew me. People liked me. Like, I was like pretty chill, and I feel like I wasn't super popular, but like, people, that's always been my vibe. Like, I've never been like super popular, but people know me and they like me. But since I've moved here, it's been crazy. Like, first of all, just the moving here of like every time I went to a housing situation, the housing situation disappeared. And then I got here, and it's like I feel like I keep trying to reach out to people, keep trying to make friends. And the times that I've like tried to connect with people, they've ghosted me. They've ghosted me. And not only friends, but even like, for example, I tried to get into a book club. Like, I'd signed up for the book club. I even read the book. It was like a horror book club. I thought, great, I'll make friends, right? A few days before the book club was meant to meet for the first time, canceled. What? It just feels like, I know this sounds insane, but it feels like the universe is not gonna let me have like a normal life. It sounds insane, but I feel like the energy of my life is not gonna flow until I finish this. Like, I'm not like, every time I feel like I'm blocked right now. Like, I'm spiritually blocked from any kind of useful sort of normal experience. I'm blocked from relationships. I'm blocked from friendships. I'm blocked from everything. Everything is just work. And it feels like the more I'm working, the more intense the work is getting. Like, not even in my project per se, but it's like, I keep thinking, like, why can't I be doing, like, if this is something important or useful, why can't I be doing it, like, on a beach, Like, why can't I be doing it, like, on a beach surrounded by, like, a million friends and just, like, with sunglasses on and rich and, like, living my best life, And I feel like the intensity, like, wouldn't build up for me to be so desperate to finish this project. Like, I'm so desperate to finish it. I'm so close. I just need to finish my literature review and then build the stupid thing. But it's like, again, it's like that effect of like every time I'm like, hey, cool, things are chilling out, more work sort of manages to like sneak into my life a little bit at times. But I think now that's over. I think now I've gotten in a better job situation, but it's pretty impressive how it keeps happening. And yet every time I feel like I keep having to recommit myself to being like, no, this is gonna get done, and no, this is gonna happen. And yeah, and the intensity I've built up myself, like, this is really a me thing, but that built up on the inside of like, no one's going to actually believe you unless you get this done. Nobody's actually going to genuinely believe you on your experience unless you can show proof. Because I know I can tell people I can try to tell people what's going on inside, but they're gonna like meet it with a level of doubt. Particularly, I feel like at a clinical level, people will meet me with a level of doubt until I can show that there's not reason to have doubt. And so I don't even feel like I can accurately, like, well off, like I can really go to therapy and feel like 100% good until I can show like this is done and yes, this is true, So I think that's been an intense part of like, there's so many things that happen that I have never like said or delved into because I'm like, nobody's gonna believe you because the science is like so wishy-washy. So you have to find the science yourself. You have to do it because nobody else is gonna do it for you, and because nobody else cares as much as you. So you have to do it. And so it's like also the sensation of like, you have to do it now so that you don't spend the rest of your life with this. You don't have to spend the rest of your life feeling like people don't believe you and like people are listening, but they're not really sort of on your side. And I think that's definitely been like a personal like thing of like, I can't live my whole entire life feeling like people don't believe me. I can't feel my whole entire life feeling as if somebody got away with something and I have no way, because that was the traumatic experience from the get-go of like, somebody's getting away with something because you can't speak, because people aren't going to believe you, because you're stuck in this hole of like, it's all in here, and like, you can't get it out. You can't tell people about it. You can't do anything about it because nobody's going to really believe you. So that's been, I think, really intense too. Like, I don't want to live I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my youth. I want to have friends. I want to go on dates. I want to have a fun life. And it's like I can't sometimes, because not only because I'm feeling a little bit spiritually blocked, but also because I think like, how can I keep living with this weight on my head? Like it's just it's too hard. I feel like I go into my relationships already feeling so broken and feeling so like I can't connect to people, I can't tell them about myself and all of these things. And I feel like that's just been big motivation to be like, no, like you have to free yourself. Like you have to literally free yourself, because nobody's gonna free you for you, because nobody cares enough. Nobody cares as much as you. Meanwhile, I can't really like tell people about, I feel like I'm telling people here and there like I'm doing this, but it goes so deep for me, and I feel like I'm telling people and it's like that's cool, but it's just like they won't understand until it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's that deep. They won't understand until it's done and I've did it, and it's not like a whim, and it's not something that I'm just like, oh yeah, this is cool, and like I'm just like a stupid little 23-year-old. It's like, no, this is something like really deep, and like it's gonna happen for me because I need it. Like I really need it, like really badly. So that's why I started this YouTube as an outlet, because I was like, I need to talk to somebody about this project, and for at least to imagine that somebody out there is like meeting me with like this level of like legitimacy, and like, you know what I mean, of like this level of legitimacy of I'm doing something legitimate, even if that person is just me watching my own videos. Like I need somebody to believe in me. You know what I mean? Like believe in me 100%, not believe in me like, yeah, like you can do anything you set your mind to, but like, no, I believe you. Like I believe in what you're doing, and I believe that you'll get there. Like you're gonna get there 100%, and like that person needs to be me. So that's why I've started this YouTube, I think, as well. Even though that's why I'm saying, like, even if I get no likes, it's for me. Like I watch these and I like look at myself through the lens of like legitimacy as well, and like self-respect. You know, even though it's been really draining sometimes to work on this project, or at least not even the working on the project, but trying to work on the project in the midst of everything else, it has genuinely been like the single most healing thing that I've ever done in my life. Like going after it myself and really reading like the material and reading the research, and has, first of all, that's been, I think, doing this literature review has been extremely just validating and really powerful for me. I've been reading recently, I read some text by, I'm forgetting his name. They're going to be included in my literature review, but about dissociation and trauma, written by the author who wrote The Body Keeps Score. But it was like texts that he'd written in like the 90s, and I was reading those, and they talked about how one of the things that he talked about that was really validating for me was how dissociation, there's like, it's triggering certain parts of the brain that facilitate a feeling of speechless terror. So you can, even though like you can sort of somatically know what occurred, when it goes to actually speaking, you can't speak it, like you can't say it. And yeah, he just talks about all sorts of different dissociative experiences that really like resonated for me, and how I've processed this trauma, and that's just been extremely powerful for me. And then just doing my element of the research and about the hippocampal sharp wave ripples. I think what's really been validating for me is that the more I read, and like the more I'm seeing that my hypothesis has like a lot of backing, because I went into this hypothesis not from the point of, I think I went into it a little backwards than most people. I went into it not through the reading, but through my experience first, and then I read, you know? So I think I already had the hypothesis from my life, and then I went in to read to make sure that what I was doing in terms of neuroscience was like backed. And I think that that's been extremely validating for me as well, because it's been like really accurate to the material that I'm reading, and like my life experience that I just sort of was like, I think it's like this, like it's been really reflected in the literature, and that's been really powerful for me, especially having been through like a trial against the person who committed this violence. and it was extremely invalidating for me, and didn't go much of anywhere, which is how most of these trials go. So I think that the most triggering part, I think of course the trauma was the difficult, but I think it fragmented me even more to try to speak about the experience, and then feeling like there was nowhere my experience could go, because I feel like I was met with not only like this intense investigation sort of experience, but also all these moments of having read like other things or had experiences and other conversations where I was like, well, maybe you're just like that, we don't know if it's true, or we don't know if it's real, or things like that, that I think um were, also came from like a lack of the science. But I think that it made me feel this sense of internal mistrust. Like I couldn't trust anything that I thought. I couldn't, like, you know what I mean? So even though I had memories coming up for me and things like that, I felt like, well, what if it's fake? Like, what if your thoughts are like, what if these are not real? Like, what if these are fake and you're just fabricating things? Fabricating things is a phrase that really not have history with that phrase. But anyways, in terms of the experience that I went through trying to have my story heard. But yeah, so I think I just really like, yeah. I think that I just went through this experience, and I was just like I couldn't trust anything about my head. But I think that actually as I'm doing the work, I'm like, no, you actually can trust it. And just, yeah, I think it's just been really powerful for me to find this, yeah, to be like, yeah, it's the ripples and the encoding and the everything that's just getting thrown off, and it makes sense why you're getting things in fragments and like little chunks of things. And I think that it's really hard sometimes when you're processing a trauma and you can't say everything that happened. You can just say pieces, and it's like I can only describe a lot of my experiences in pieces, and they're very intense pieces. And I actually read that also in these texts that actually the memories that come up for like these sorts of initial little fragments and things that are like memories that we have of trauma. I'm gonna like, this is, I need to make sure I'm saying this 100% accurate, but I'm just reflecting on the experience of doing my literature review. But basically that they actually are like extremely like vivid, actually more vivid and real sort of than the memories that we have that actually get encoded, because after they're encoded they're more like in the matrix of like us and our memory, and so they are a little bit more subject to sort of being reinterpreted through our like later experiences or other experiences. But those little fragments that we get from like the traumatic event that we haven't quite dealt with are actually extremely vivid and extremely like I think like more like intact in a strange way than some of our longer held memories. And that was also really really validating for me to read. I actually need to read The Body Keeps Score really bad, but I just haven't had the time. But I've been really like feeling validated by these older sort of texts that I've read from this author, and it's been really good for me. So I actually came home today after I made this video earlier, and I was just sitting with it. I was like, yeah, man, I never talked about some of this stuff. I never told anybody. I have never even written it down. Like, it's just been sort of floating around because I've been sort of too afraid to be like, what if I'm just a liar and like a fake, just faking everything and I just suck. And it's like, no, I think now I can, the healing that I wanted from this project has been happening, which I'm so grateful for. It's like, you can trust your experience. Like, it is real. You are seeing that it's real. And like, you have, I think like just also the experience of being like, no, my science is the understanding that I had of my own mind and my own experience, I'm now seeing popping up as like extremely accurate. Like, my recounting of how I experienced my trauma and like how the trauma like sort of manifested for me is extremely accurate, to the point where I'm able to do this whole entire like intense project and just seeing it be like more and more accurate as I'm reading the material. So I think that's been really healing for me, like by a lot. And yeah, I just came home and like wrote this stuff in a little journal and was just like, wow, thank God that's out. Like, I never wrote it, I never said it, I just lived in fear of it, and now here I am like at least writing it down, and that's like a start. And yeah, so that's been really good for me, and it's definitely been extremely healing for me to work on this. And it's been like, actually, I'm gonna be honest, it's probably the most enjoyable part of my life, the part of my life that I love the most. I just wish that I wasn't like stressed out and sort of pulled in 8,000 different directions as I did it, but that makes me feel excited. I'm Lastly, I've been sort of reflecting on and just being nervous. Like, no, actually, like, again, I think I've been, like, only guiding myself through and only gotten this far by having just blind faith, but I need to keep having blind faith in the idea that I'm gonna finish this and publish this, and it's gonna be, you know, slid right in there with the other science by people who actually have degrees and things like that. And yeah, I don't know. I've been sort of looking at this whole experience. Like, I started getting really into watching these like mountain biking videos, and I've just really wanted to go mountain biking. But I think the reason they're resonating for me so much is that the cool thing about watching people like professional downhill mountain bikers is that you can see how you're just going down a hill on this bike, and it's like rocky and all this stuff, and you're going really, really fast. When I was a kid, I actually went mountain biking with family friends, and I really loved it. It was really fun. But you're going fast. Like, you have to basically have blind faith that you are just so like sort of intuitively in motion with this mountain that you're not gonna just like trip on a rock and like fall over and all this stuff. And you just have to like, you can't really lose momentum or have a moment of fear, or you'll just like stumble, and you won't have, like, you need to have the speed to like make it through. So I think that's like, I've been sort of feeling like I'm like downhill mountain biking, but like with this project. Or I've also been thinking of it almost like, in Harry Potter, where they have to just barge into the wall and like to get through into platform 9 3/4. I feel like I'm like just go, just push, like just get through the wall. Like, don't be afraid that you're gonna like bump into it, like you just gotta go right through. And yeah, I think that's been sort of the experience of just doing this, having like not really the backing, like the the institution, the anything. Like, it's just been me just being like, just go, just blind faith, trust, intuition, everything, just go. Like, don't stop, don't have a moment of like, are you gonna do it right, are you gonna, like, just go. And like, you have to have 100% faith, and like somehow you'll do it, because that's just been the experience from like start to finish. And yeah, so okay, that's been a day just reflecting on this personal project and everything that it's meant for me. It's been like really intense working on it. Yeah.